Hey there, Storm fans. Bryant Cook, and today we will be playing Gruul Breach, a donation deck from Zach McLean. But before we get into that, I would like to take a moment and thank our brand new sponsor here at the Epic Storm, Eminence Gaming. Eminence Gaming will be hosting Punt City 2, March 25th to the 26th in the suburbs of Philadelphia. On the 25th, there will be a CDH tournament, and on the 26th, there will be a Vintage 1K. The CDH tournament is already sold out, but there's still plenty of registration left for the Vintage 1K on Sunday. Unlimited proxies. Go to Eminence.events to figure out their proxy policy, but also to sign up for the event. It's going to be a blast. I'll be there, so that means that you can meet me at Punt City 2. Definitely go sign up. So the deck we're playing today is Gruul Breach, probably my default modern deck at this point. I still love Lotus Breach, don't get me wrong, but if I had to win, I would be playing Gruul Breach. The list in front of you is not mine, just a heads up. Zach is a $25 member of this YouTube channel, and with that, you get 2 sideboard guides per month. You get to message me questions, stuff along those lines. So Zach has been picking my brain. They've taken my sideboard guides, and this is their list. It's a little bit different from mine, so we'll go over those changes. So they're playing 3 sideboard Lightning Bolt, 3 Veil of Summer. They're choosing to run 2 Empty the Warrens in the main deck and a Bitter Reunion. So if you're unfamiliar with Bitter Reunion, it's like a Tormenting Voice where you can discard a card, draw 2, except this has sacrifice this enchantment, creatures you control gain haste. Okay. So this is my list. I have 2 main deck Lightning Bolt, 2 sideboard Bolt, so I have 4 total. I have 4 Veil of Summer, and I have 4 Galvanic Relay. They cut the 4th Relay for that Bitter Reunion. I am not running Empty the Warrens. They are. So Zach is running Empty. I posted on Twitter when I first started playing this deck that I believe that Empty is the best, or this is the best Empty the Warrens deck in the format. I still believe that's true. That said, I've done a lot of playtesting with Empty. At one point, I had 4 in my 75 because I really thought this deck was that good at making goblins. The problem with that is almost every sideboard has 2 engineered explosives in it these days, and if they're not on engineered explosives, they're on Ephemerate Fury or something along those lines. And I just couldn't win consistently with the goblin plan. I can make 10 goblins, but it just was never enough. Like, yeah, it would win a game here or there, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't reliable. So I've moved away from it. Instead, with my list, I'm choosing to run 2 Lightning Bolt, which gives me answers to things like Ragavan or Dothy Voidwalker, and I found that to just be more valuable overall. It buys time, it's great against hammer time, that sort of thing. So I've really been enjoying the bolts, but Zach hasn't. And ultimately, I want people to play whatever makes them happy. Like, I do not care if people play my list or not. So today we're going to be focusing on Bitter Reunion and Empty the Warrens as we play this deck. Also, a thing that I tweeted about was how good Aria Flame has been for me as a sideboard juke. So it doesn't use the graveyard, it doesn't die to Lightning Bolt, it doesn't get hit by sweepers. This card has just been fantastic. You can accelerate into it with Strike It Rich or one of your 8 ritual effects, and it just steals the game. Like, this card has just been so good for me. And if you haven't been playing it, you should definitely reconsider. That's what I've got to say there. So yeah, other than that, I've recorded 3 videos on this now. If you're interested in those, please go check those out. I recorded one right before the Venerated Rot Priest video, and that list was pretty darn good. I would definitely go check that out. It's an entertaining league as well. That's what I've got. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. But I want to hop on in and play some Magic the Gathering today, so I'll see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, early access to videos, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, such as theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We are on the play. Reveal our Gigantha. Keep. I usually like to start off on the fetch lands to thin our deck, fuel our graveyard for Underworld Breach, so we'll do that here. Grab the basic mountain into Dragon's Rage Channeler. We'll pass the turn after that. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand and passes the turn. Okay, so we'll play a Scalding Tarn. Let's fetch. Grab another basic. Channeler. Let's get rich. 2 Surveil triggers. We'll bin this. So that gives us land creature, here's sorcery, and instant. So we will now be delirious once this Striker Rich resolves. Okay, so now we have a 3/3, get in there. Coming out of the gate hot. They go to 17. Marsh Flats, okay. Not really sure what they're up to quite yet. Bitter Reunion. So we'll play our Stomping Grounds. So this way they think that maybe I have something in second combat, or second main phase, and they'll take 6 damage here. And I mean, I do. So we'll play the Anarchomancer. Play the Bitter Reunion. Surveil away the Striker Rich. Don't think we want another Anarchomancer, so we'll surveil that away. Bitter Reunion happens. Discard the Stomping Ground. Okay. We can play the Bauble here and get a couple more surveils. Get rid of this Arid Mesa. Don't really need the Grape Shot. Okay, so by the time we get to our turn, we will have seen 33% of our deck. We're really just looking for an Underworld Breach at this point. So you might have been asking, Bryant, why not keep the Grape Shot? You have 8 power on board. I don't like the idea of just assuming your opponent won't interact with you at all and goes down to 2 or 3 life. I think that's kind of a trap where I'd rather just dig for the possible Underworld Breach or just something that's probably a little bit better. What are you doing here? So they're Reanimator. Okay. And Burial Rates and Archon of Cruelty. Let's bobble them in their upkeep. Ephemerate. Wow. That's not good for us. So if they have a Solitude here, it's going to be a blowout. They fetch. Or even just Archon of Cruelty, Ephemerate Archon of Cruelty. There's the Persist. So they have the Ephemerate and we know that. I think one of the few ways I can win this game is if I surveil into Underworld Breach. So we're going to cast the Desperate Ritual here just for these surveil triggers. I do lose my treasure token, but I think that this is worth it. Relay can go to the bin. There we go. Underworld Breach on top. We lose the Channeler. They're going to pass. Okay, we know that they have the Ephemerate. Oh, they can discard the card in my draw after the Bauble. No, that's a really good play by them. I didn't even see that. Am I allowed to go to draw step? Nope. Good play by the opponent here. Nabbing my Underworld Breach. That hurts. So now I have to draw another Underworld Breach here. Brutal. They got me. Yeah, they did it. Okay, so we lost game number 1. I don't think that this is an empty matchup. Archon of Cruelty races that card fairly easily, so we'll board out the empties in the Bitter Reunion. I don't know if we want Aria Flame or not here. I don't like Lightning Bolt. Veil of Summer seems fine. I think I might want a couple copies of Aria. Let's try 2 in this matchup. I'm not sure, so I don't want to board in all 3. And also, let's try the Besajus, and then we'll just take out Abundant Harvest. Submit. Game number 2, revealing our Gigantha once again. Sure, we'll try this. Keep. We're going to get all green sources here. I basically don't want to tip off the Veil of Summer, so I'm just going to always have them to make it a little less obvious. Polluted Delta. They're playing Grief, so they have Grief Ephemerate, and I did have the Veil of Summer, but I chose to play the Dragon's Rage Channeler. I still think playing out the Channeler is the correct move. Unfortunately, it's just not paying off for us here. You can't play reactively the whole game. I don't think that's a winning strategy. And we're in trouble. So the Grief is going to happen again on their turn. So we can do a little bit to get around that. We can cast the Ritual here. Get a nice Surveil trigger in. Let's bin the land. We'll cast Strike It Rich. We'll mill a Strike It Rich. And then Galvanic Relay for 3. Not the world's strongest relay here, but it's better than just allowing Grief to discard another card. And then we'll go to combat. Swing. So now Ephemery happens, but they blink their Grief, but we don't have a hand. So they choose to leave it in exile this way that they can attack with their Grief, and I'll go to 12 life. They still have 5 in hand. Okay, so our cards were Manamorphose, a Channeler, and another Relay. So let's cast the Manamorphose. We'll Surveil away the Veil of Summer. We'll do red. So we could relay again, or I can take the Channeler. Would be a relay for 4 this time. I think that's probably better. I want the Breach. We'll put that on top. So there is a downside of Breach being on top, which is I need to hit a land and a ritual off this relay for 4. I believe we want to click on the Channeler, so that way we can surveil before the last relay resolves. So this first one's going to exile the Underworld Breach, another Breach, a land. I think we want to leave the Morphos, because that gives me an extra surveil to find another ritual. And now we'll go to combat. Swing. They grab a Triome. They'll attack for 3. We go to 9. And they're passing the turn. Bobble them. I could have done this in their upkeep, I suppose. That way I'd know what they have in hand, instead of just some random card on top of their deck. I think I was just distracted. Not making any excuses for poor play, but I think that was the truth. I just was a little distracted there. Leyline Binding on my Channeler. Sure. Bobble. We did not hit the ritual. Aria Flame, which isn't good here. I didn't realize that they were on a Leyline Binding list, or else I wouldn't have sided this in. So the only way we can win this game now is if I Manamorphose into a ritual. Okay. Manamorphose. Red-green. We have 1 ritual in our... 2 rituals, so there's 6 rituals left in the deck. Ding! Pyretic Ritual. Underworld Breach. Let's cast another ritual. Escape away some lands. Okay, we have another Channeler in the graveyard. We'll play that. Beautiful. Now let's Manamorphose. Remove Relay, Strike It Rich, Strike It Rich. Then we get a Surveil here. Mill the Ritual. We're just digging for Grape Shot at this point. Red-green. There it is. So now we'll Manamorphose again. This is storm number 8. Keep that on top. Red-red. We'll cast Manamorphose. Mill the Beseiju. Red-green. Grape Shot for 10. Actually, this is a punt on my part. They are a Solitude deck. So this is just a play mistake here. Please don't burn me. Please don't burn me. Okay. So I didn't get punished, but you're supposed to play around Solitude there. That's my bad. So this is not an Aria matchup. We know that now. Leyline Binding. I mean, I could board in Blood Moon. We saw the Leyline Bindings, but if I can catch them off guard with the fast Blood Moon, it could easily win. Let's side out 1 Relay here. I mean, I know Relay was decent that game, but I feel like we were a little fortunate. The first one was kind of bad. Or, alternatively, we could board out a Grape Shot, because I don't think Grape Shot's great here either. Let's do that. Game 3 on the draw, we will keep Blue to Delta. So no Turn 1 Grief, big fan. Galvanic Relay, we'll just play a Scalding Tarn. I could keep the Bobble for the Relay, but I think I want to try to play it out to get some extra value. Watery Grave untapped. Otherworldly Gaze. Love that card. We put 1 card on top. We'll take a look at that. Milled 2 basics. Big fan when I boarded in Blood Moon. Grief. Opponent casts the Grief. We'll fetch in response. Ouch. And then we'll cast the Veil of Summer. So we're putting this on the stack. Does it resolve? It does, and we get a ritual. Love it. Grief goes to the graveyard. Mishra's Bauble. Trigger on our upkeep. We draw into a mountain. Heretic Ritual. Okay. So we can do a pretty big relay here, assuming our opponent doesn't have a Solitude. So step one is going to be the ritual. Actually, can I beat Solitude too? I can. So we go Ritual, Strike, Strike. That brings us down to 4 mana. A Narcomancer into Galvanic Relay. Even if they have Solitude, I can cast the Relay. Ritual. Or, I'm sorry, Strike it Rich. Strike it Rich. Goblin. Relay for 6. Boom! Relay looking good after I trash talked it while sideboarding. Just as the magic gods intended. Praise Kuranos. God of Storms. I imagine they're going to have an end step of the Religaze here. I suppose we could take a look at what we revealed with Relay. Channeler, Striker Rich, Blood Moon, Breach, another Goblin, and another Channeler. So no mana whatsoever. They milled 2 Archons and a Persist. That's interesting. So that means that they probably already have Persist in hand. Not revealing any rituals off that 6 might actually bite me in the butt here. There's Archon of Cruelty. Yeah, and they get my land here too. So even if I draw a ritual, we're dead. Damn. Archon of Cruelty is so good. If they have an Ephemerate too, that's backbreaking. Go to my draw. They do have Ephemerate, it would appear. Morphos actually would have been good enough if Archon of Cruelty didn't happen. We drew Manamorphose for turn. They didn't Ephemerate us, even though they paused for a long time in our upkeep. I'm not really sure what the move is here. I could Manamorphose into a ritual, and Underworld Breach still doesn't do anything because we don't have 3 lands. I'm pretty sure we've just lost this game at this point. I guess one thing that we could theoretically do to possibly win is if I Manamorphose into another mana source here, I can channel her into Breach with a Bauble and hope to draw enough cards to win next turn. I drew another Breach. Okay, so we'll play this Breach. And then we have to hope that our Bauble draws are good enough. We'll Bauble them. They found Ephemerate. Okay, we've definitely lost this now. Okay, Bauble ourselves, I guess. We have to Bauble now because we need the cards in hand in order to win. Like, basically, our only shot at winning is this Underworld Breach. But I think the Ephemerate just closes the door on that. So now we draw 3 cards. They attack, we lose 1 of them. And then Ephemerate happens. Yeah, it's not looking good for the home team here. Discard Blood Moon. Thoughtseize on our Breach. This game is over. Okay, so we have lost match 1. Bummer, but there's still 4 more rounds left. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. Let's bounce back in match number 2. We're on the play, revealing our Jegantha. I don't think we're supposed to keep this in the blind, but obviously we are a list with 2 empty in the main deck. It could really reward us. So with my version of the deck with bolts in it, I would definitely mulligan this. Knowing that there's bolts here, knowing that there's Empty the Warrens here, I'm kind of tempted to keep. Alright, judge me later. We do have the back door of just putting big jugs into play. Put it with a mulligan to 6. Wooded Foothills pass the turn. Bloodstained Mire, and they pass the turn, so maybe Scam. Fetch. Grab another Stomping Ground. Take a draw. Stomping Ground number 4. We have a combo. Pass. Okay, they pick up a, what is it called again? Abzan Triome. Marsh Flats. Goblin. I'll go to 17. I'm just going to put Gigantha to hand here. Welcome home, Big Jegs. Xander's Lounge, the Grixis Triome. So I don't believe that this is creativity because this land isn't a mountain. Season Pyromancer, okay. So they're a 5-color deck with Fury in it. Draw for turn. Abundant Harvest. Let's cast the Harvest. Non-land. Channeler. So Channeler could be very good here. We get some scries that we're able to do. So we'll play the Goblin, and if we fail, we can just put Gigantha into play, so I think that's fine. We'll start off on a Ritual. Play the Channeler. Play another Ritual, we get that Surveil trigger. I said Scry, but I meant Surveil. Bin the Ritual. Ritual. We don't need another Channeler, that can go to the graveyard. So at the bare minimum, we have Gigantha, but I'd like to hit an Underworld Breach here. Goodbye, Channeler. Alright, it's all up to this Morphos draw. We'll do green. Bobble's not good enough, so we're going to be passing the turn here. Bin the Wooded Foothills. Gigantha is coming home. Pass the turn, and they have 5 cards in hand. Bobble them. Witch's Cottage. They play the Witch's Cottage, so they can put Fury on top. They choose the Scion Draco, that's interesting. Oh, well, it's Calibrated Blast. I don't know why I didn't see that coming. Okay. So we need to draw well here. Draw off the Bobble. Land wasn't what we needed. That's brutal. So we're just dead if they have an untapped land. Although Calibrated Blast Season Pyromancer is quite the combo. I mean, am I supposed to attack with the Gigantha here? I don't think it really matters. So they'll take 3. We can play our Mountain. Grape Shot the Elemental for 1. We can always block the Season Pyromancer, but I'm willing to bet that we're just dead. And there's the land. So we only live if they Calibrated Blast for less than 3. And the Witched Cottage will do it. So they're a deck that's looking to use Witched Cottage to guarantee that Calibrated Blast always deals a bunch of damage. So, I mean, that's interesting. I guess here a bunch of damage would be 5, but it's reasonable. I've never seen this before, but it's cute. So they're a black-based deck. I'd be willing to bet that they have a bunch of discard spells in the sideboard, so I kind of want the Veil of Summers. And Zach, once again, I'm sorry, I don't think that this is an empty matchup. We saw Fury, they're a combo deck that deals 12 plus damage. We're getting rid of the empty package. That said, I wouldn't want Bolt here either. So we're going to get rid of those. I don't love Blood Moon. I mean, they are a predominantly red deck. Aria seems a little bit slow here, so I think that this is just the move. Could also board in Besajus in case of Leyline of the Void. Let's try boarding out a couple copies of Striker Rich. Reveal Gigantha. Sure. Arid Mesa will fetch. Go grab the basic Mountain Channeler. Marsh Flats, pass. Okay. Another land, not ideal. I believe I'm going to relay now because we have 4 lands in hand. 2 after we play 1 for turn, but whatever. Striker Rich. So many lands. And then relay for 3. We get the Surveil here. We do not need a Striker Rich. Unfortunately, this is only an attack for 1. The 3 cards we revealed are Ritual, Goblin, and a Mishra's Bauble. Okay, we find another Ritual for our draw step. We'll fetch. Grab the other Mountain. I don't want to Lightning Bolt myself too much when they're a Calibrated Blast deck. We'll play the Goblin. Play Bauble. We get the Surveil trigger. This should make the Channeler delirious as well. Xander's Lounge. Leyline Binding. We'll cast the Ritual in response. Might as well get that Surveil in. Bin the Grape Shot. Ritual happens. Leyline Binding on the Goblin can happen. Veil trigger here. We'll get rid of Veil of Summer. Whoops, I can flashback a strike. I was even thinking about that as I was going, and then once I got there, I don't know, little space brain this morning. Swing. Whoops. I didn't sacrifice my bobble. I hit 2, and it just went through. Forgive me. If we lose this game by 2 damage, it will be my own fault. Season Pyromancer, okay. Discards Thoughtseize, Scion of Draco. We'll go to their end step and then we'll bobble them. Another Leyline Binding. So we'd like to find an Underworld Breach here. We're over a third of the way through the deck. Another land into Grapeshot. Okay. Heretic Ritual. Put Grapeshot 3 to the graveyard. Let's strike it rich. Ritual to the graveyard. Play Stomping Ground. Now we have a Grapeshot for 3. I think I'm supposed to leave the Season Pyromancer. We'll kill the tokens. Attack for 3, they'll go to 10. Could be 8 if I would have sacrificed the bobble last turn. They'll attack, I'll go to 12. Or, I'm sorry, I'll go to 13, which is 1 more than the 12 that Scion of Draco would deal off Blast. Leyline Binding. Okay. And there's a Scion of Draco. Draw for turn. Another Channeler. Play the Channeler. Play Arid Mesa. And then we'll put the Gigantha to hand. So I can block here and pretty much guarantee another draw step. But if I fetch, that doesn't even matter. I guess I'm supposed to just take the chance at another draw step. And hope that it's Underworld Breach. Although if they had the Blast, they probably would have attacked with the Season Pyromancer too. Shadow Prophecy, okay. That's a cool one. Pretty much a better read the bones when you have Domain. Okay, 33 cards on the deck, about to be 32. We have 4 copies of Underworld Breach in there. Let's see it. There we go. We have Leyline Binding 3. Play Channeler. You might be saying, Bryant, you got so lucky. I can't believe you hit Underworld Breach. And that's fair. But I'd also say, well, we went 32 cards deep in our deck and hadn't seen one yet, which is a little unlucky. So there's really 2 different ways to look at it, I suppose. Surveil away a land. Now we'll Metamorphose. Storm will be 4. Goodbye land. Red-green. Relay. We'll Metamorphose again. Storm 5. Goblin Blitz. We'll bin the Goblin. It doesn't really matter. Red-green. Another Breach. Metamorphose again. We can keep the Ritual. Red-green. Play the Ritual. Storm is 7. Bin the Bobble. Okay, so now we're going to game 3. I could try to get a little cheeky with the Blood Moons. They just have so much red in their deck, I don't know if that's actually worth it. I'm going to resubmit. Pretty good hand. Keep. They play a Verdant. Land 2 is a good one. We saw that they boarded in Thoughtseize, so we're going to just hold open the Veil here. I shouldn't say boarded in. We saw Thoughtseize in game 2. Those are the words I'm trying to say there. Once again, I'm lazy and just like a little space brain this morning. Did not bobble them in their upkeep. Okay. Veil of Summer. They play a Witch's Cottage. I'll use the bobble now. They have a Blood Crypt on top. Okay. Draw off the bobble. Galvanic Relay. Channeler. Okay. Looks like we can have a pretty good turn next turn, but this turn we'll be playing the Goblin and Narcomancer. Pass. They bolt my Goblin. What a jerk. They play the Blood Crypt. Pass. And we draw Beseiju number 2. Play another Goblin. And then I can Ritual, Channeler, Relay. So Relay for 4. That's not bad. Surveil. let's get rid of the ritual. We have 4 mana. That should be enough. Ashiok Dream Render. Okay. So it's worth noting that we can attack the Ashiok, but currently it would only put the Ashiok to 1. Alright, so we'll fetch. That's 1 towards Delirium. Oh! The Ashiok! Ah, that was dumb. I've never played Magic before. Please forgive me. Ah, wow, that was awful. I am better than this. I am playing like trash this morning. Alright, we will Abundant Harvest. I mean, I want this, but I think we're supposed to bin it. Yeah, let's just get rid of it. Get rid of the harvest. I'm going to say non-land. Another grape shot. Target them. Now we can see how these surveils work. Okay. We'll send 1 at Ashiok, and then another at them. So Ashiok goes to 3, and now the Channeler will attack the Ashiok and remove it. A little disappointed in my play so far. I'm better than this. Purposely not playing out the Boseiju. There's no need to Legend Rule our land at this moment. We also know that they're a Leyline Binding deck. There's a good chance that I want to be able to blow up one of those later. Fable. Okay, they're at 15. Holy moly, what a draw. Underworld Breach. Okay, so I will admit that was a lucky one. And they concede, and we've won a match. Even with my terrible play, we are now 1-1. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Match number 3, we're on the draw. We've opened up 5 lands, Channeler, Grape Shot. I'm not going to keep that. This is much better. Get rid of the Strike It Rich. I want the second Goblin in case the first one dies. Marsh Flats. Okay. Not a matchup we want to face here. We'll fetch to Thin. Abundant Harvest, we'll say non-land. Play out the Bobble, and then pass the turn. Once again, I didn't do it. What is wrong with me? I guess they'll get to see their card. I keep on forgetting to upkeep Bobble them. They hit an Arid Mesa. Bobble. They have a Bolt on top. Grape Shot. Guess we'll remove the Ragavan rather than play out the Goblin. Undying Malice. Well, aren't I a dummy? Now it's an even bigger Ragavan. Ouch. We go to 10. They hit Abundant Harvest. Terminate. So they have Terminate, Lightning Bolt in hand. Not loving my odds. Seasoned Pyromancer. They discard double Terminate. Okay. Draw. Ay. So they have 5, 6, 7. I'm dead to a Bolt. I do nothing. I think I'm going to just play the Goblin and hope to block. They bolt me, I'm at 7. Fury killing my Goblin is lethal. Another Bolt is lethal. Terminate is lethal. They play a Dothy. And there's Fury. Okay. So we got smushed. We're definitely interested in Lightning Bolt. Veil of Summer. Aria Flame. I've been boarding out a bunch of creatures in this matchup and just turning off their removal. I found a lot of success in doing that. That's 61 at the moment. Let's try boarding out a Striker Rich. You could board in Boseiju, but I've found that they don't have a whole lot of cards that makes it worthwhile. Alright, Gigantha revealed again. Sure, so we need to find a land here. Do you play out the Bobble, hoping to just spike a land so that you can empty for 8? I don't know. I think I'm going to sit on the Bobble. Pass the turn. Marsh Flats, come on, land. No such luck. Alright, I am forced to play out the bobble now. And I'm going to do something that I normally don't do, which is I'm going to just bobble right now. Ooh, they have Fury on top. Okay, so I'm doing it now, so that way it incentivizes the opponent to play a Thoughtseize, so that way I can veil them. They fetch away the Fury. Draw off the bobble. Still no land. Unlicensed Hearse that doesn't trigger Veil of Summer. We'll take a draw. Well, this guarantees a land. Abundant Harvest. We have 2 mountains that we don't want to hit here. Okay, good. Arid Mesa will pass. Sacred Foundry, that's interesting. Dothy Voidwalker. That's fine. We'll fetch. I think I'm actually going to cycle a Veil of Summer here. We likely have lethal next turn with the Aria, assuming that they don't have an answer with the Sacred Foundry. Aria Flame triggers, they'll gain 10, and they're staring down lethal now. That said, we went shields down for Thoughtseize effects, so it could change. They just had Wear to... Ah! Why? Why? Brutal. Wow. We just got crushed. This is not the norm, by the way, so if you're watching this video, I would not look at this and say, oh, it's normal for Rakdos to have Sacred Foundry Wear. This is pretty uncommon. But we're going to lose to our own empty here, which is kind of funny. Who is the real Storm deck? Oh, geez. Let's Abundant Harvest. We'll say non-land. Grape Shot. Guess we can buy a little bit of time here. Select another Goblin. Another thing we could have done, which I don't agree with, but it's something we could have done, is we could have ritualed out the Aria and then held open Veil of Summer. But that still wouldn't have stopped the Wear Terror blowout that happened. It's also like kind of strange that our opponent just decided to sit on double Thoughtseize for multiple turns. Lightning Skelemental. Okay. Sure, I guess. So that's 12. That's actually 14. We're dead. Assuming that they crew the hearse. And they do, so wow. Okay. We got smushed. We're 1 and 2. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Match number 4. While we're setting up here, in between rounds, I went to Goldfish to look at Rakdos list just to make sure I wasn't talking out of my butt, and there were 0 Wear Terrors in any of the lists. So, just putting it out there, I do think that Aria Flame is still incredibly good in the matchup. It just didn't work out for us, and sometimes that happens. Here we have a very good hand. I'm all about keeping this. We're going to go get the basic into Dragon's Rage Channeler. Pass. Polluted Delta, and it looks like they're passing the turn. Okay. Ouch. Let's play this Bitter Reunion. Surveil trigger. Bin the Grape Shot. Bitter Reunion. I'll get rid of Strike It Rich. Okay. No Delirium yet. Swing. They grab a Steam Vents. Is it Murktide? It looks like it. They dash a Ragavan. Okay. So we'll take 2. They had a Galvanic Relay. They sacked the treasure and then thought twice about it. It's interesting. Take a draw, another Striker Rich. Play Channeler number 2. Abundant Harvest. Get those Surveil triggers in. We'll get rid of the Goblin. I want the Breach. We have to keep this on top. I was originally planning on saying land here, but don't think I'm allowed to. Swing. Pass the turn. They play Ragavan the normal way. They have 6 in hand, and now they're just forced to respect Underworld Breach the whole time. We'll get rid of another Channeler. I think I'm going to just pass here. So I could try to ritual into everything, but our opponent's representing counter magic. If I wait, I might be able to double spell and win the game. By double spell, I mean play 3 rituals into double Underworld Breach. They play a bauble. They don't attack. Okay. They draw off the bauble up to 6 cards. We draw a goblin. Play the goblin. Draws out a counter spell. I'm good with that. We'll pass. They play their own channeler. Scalding Tarn, 4 cards in hand. We'll block. So they could have counterspell and like Archmage's Charm, something along those lines. Am I allowed to ritual? Okay, so this is going to give me Delirium, so we're going to trade channelers here. I could have done this in second combat, but I'm also just fine trading channel. Like, our graveyard is flush enough that I don't think that it's a meaningful thing. I'm going to keep the Stomping Ground on top. They have 3 in hand. Interesting that they've decided to go after mana with their counter spells, knowing that I have Breach in hand. Another Ragavan, so they're going to steal the land that I put on top. 2 cards remain. Murktide, they have 1 card. Okay, is it a counter spell? Ritual? Ritual? Underworld Breach? Okay. Let's try another Pyretic. Play the Channeler. Another Ritual. Storm is 6. Double Grape Shot does win from here. We'll target them. Storm is 7. I'll be honest, I don't love how our opponent played this game. I don't know what the last card in their hand is that isn't Ragavan, but they had counter target spell and they wasted it on a ritual and a goblin. Grape Shot again. And they just concede. They saw the writing on the wall. So we stole game number 1. This is another matchup that I like boarding out all of my creatures, which seems a little bit odd, but they have 4 Unholy Heat, 4 Bolt. They're just so not likely to ever live. But instead, you just change what the game is about and you turn those into sort of dead cards. Board out 1 Strike It Rich again and hit submit. One thing that I ended up finding when I was playing Empty and Aria Flame, by the way, and you could even see it in that game against Rakdos, there's sort of a natural tension between them because you can't really... I mean, in theory, you can play out Aria and then Empty, but they compete for resources a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to Strike It Rich, so that way on turn 2 I can Aria. I'm just going to be lazy and bobble now. They're not a Thoughtseize deck. We draw another Ritual, that's wonderful. They're fetching immediately. You have a Shredder. We go to 19. Okay, Stomping Ground was a good pickup. We're just going to slam the Aria here. Boom! Aria triggers, they'll go up to 27. Next turn we have Empty the Warrens with Veil of Summer backup, while dealing them a ton of damage with the Aria Flame. They cast Consider. They kept the card on top twice there. Apparently it was a Ragavan. Or so we think. They discard another copy of Consider. And they'll attack for 5. So we go to 13. Grape Shot. Can't cast that. Sorry. You're mana short. We're going to go to 11 here. Ritual. Let's save targets, targeting them. That resolved. Another Ritual. This triggers the Ledger Shredder. They Spell Pierce. We will cast Veil of Summer. Take all that area damage. Draw fail. Drew a land. Can't use that this turn. I will not pay. Ledger Shredder triggers. They discard Unholy Heat. We can Desperate Ritual, so they'll take some damage there. And Empty the Warrens. So like I mentioned, most decks have 2 copies of Engineered Explosives in the board. So this is not a guaranteed win on our next turn. It'd be nice if it won, don't get me wrong. It's just not guaranteed. We can flashback Striker Rich for the Aria as well, to get in a little bit of damage. They play Consider. Okay, so Expressive Iteration here means that they do not have access to explosives, at least for now. I guess they could have Fury, but I don't think Fury is enough either. Not when we have the Striker Rich in the graveyard. They fetch for a basic mountain. Another Channeler. Okay. They swing, we go to 8. And we win. Okay, so we are now 2-2. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. My apologies, especially to Zach. I accidentally, and this actually happened to me twice today, did not record the third match, or the fifth match. I actually had to re-record the deck tech twice for the same reason. I'm just off my game today, so we're going to go through the replays real quick. I feel like that's the way everyone can see the fifth and final match. So let's go through here. Our opponent is on a Vengevine strategy with Insolent Neonate. So we have a really good hand that's capable of a turn 2 if we find Underworld Breach. They play another Neonate, they sacrifice or sit, discard a Vengevine, they attack for a bunch of damage. We go to our turn. Whoops, sorry, gotta hit this button. Okay, so we draw empty, which is actually pretty good here. That said, and I talk about this, or well, I did before I accidentally didn't hit record. Lightning Bolt would have been very similar to empty here because we could have bolted their Vengevines, grapeshotted their team, and got to cast Abundant Harvest. We surveilled a Underworld Breach to the top of our deck, so Bolt and empty actually would have been very similar in this role, except we would have had a land and Underworld Breach. So let's go through again. They cycle this, they cast a Goblin Lore. We block 1. Post-combat, they played a Hollow one. I blocked only 1 because we had lethal, where this is 10 damage, they're at 12. If I Abundant Harvest in a land Grape Shot, that is a winning line, but they had a blocker in the second main phase. So instead, we're going to draw this Underworld Breach, just play a Goblin attack. On their turn, they just attack and hope that I don't block the Blazing Rootwalla. Obviously I do, and then we just have lethal on board. So we draw, I'm going to showboat a little bit here. We start off on Manamorphose, we surveil into a Ritual and an Underworld Breach, and then we cast Grape Shot, they concede. Okay, that is game number 1. Game 2. This one's a very fast game. They opened up on an even better start than they had in game number 1. So game 1, they had double Vengevine on turn 2. This start was better in my opinion. So they have Vengevine into Hollow 1, and they put me on, hey, you need a turn 2. So we cast a bunch of spells into Bitter Reunion and concede because it's not good enough. So that is game 2. And then game 3. This was an interesting game in my opinion. Okay, so we go find our second land. We play out the Baubles. They look at an Arid Mesa. This is their weakest draw. And you might have been saying, Bryant, you should board and Bolt for this matchup. I don't think Bolt is actually good here. And I didn't board it in because I think just trying to pick off a Vengevine is a losing strategy. So they attack for 5. I take it. And we have a hand that's, able to do some stuff. They're at 10 life because of their own street rates. We draw Bitter Reunion, and this is probably the best spot that it looks in the entire league. So we clear their blocker, give our creatures haste, and then attack for lethal. So this was the spot in which this card shined in the entire league. Zach is playing it primarily for the 2 copies of Empty. This is really the best spot that it had. So, I don't know. The Bitter Reunion, I think, was better than the Empties, but I wasn't super impressed with the Empties throughout the league. Like, Bolt would have been good there too. I don't think that this list is worse than mine. It's just different. And ultimately, that's how I felt. I play the main deck Bolts because they're better against the pinnacle of the format. So against decks like Izzet Murktide or Rakdos Scam, you can pluck off a Ragavan, a Channeler, a Dothy Voidwalker. You can kill a Grief before it could gain Undying, that sort of thing. So it's just different. I don't think Empty's great right now, between all the explosives and the Furies and people just going over you with Archon of Cruelties, that sort of thing. But ultimately, I did think that this list was fine. I'm really bummed that the one game that we had to play Aria Flame, that our opponent just happened to be on white. Like I mentioned, I looked through a bunch of Rakdos lists, didn't see a single Wear Tear anywhere, so just got punished by the opponent. But sometimes that happens in Magic. There's no need to be upset. Zach, thank you for the donation deck. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry that I accidentally didn't record match number 5. I'm just a mess today. No real excuse. I also didn't play that well. I played really poorly in the first 2 matches. Just throughout the entire league, I didn't feel like I played great. Obviously, I didn't record match number 5 on accident, so it was a mess, but I do appreciate you watching. Have a great day and keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.